Purpose of this video is to give my background on where I come from religiously, my background, how I have been an exvangelical since the 80s, deconstructed over the very issues that are deconstructing another generation today. So, in my case, Reagan was bad enough. It didn't take Trump, just Reagan. And not even that. It was the way that I saw churches advocate from the pulpit to vote for a man who is about giving the power to the wealthy and the corporations at cost to the people, to the fellow man, everyone Jesus commanded us to love and look out for. That was all it took for me. I was hearing a few people go about it. Didn't really hear it in earnest until, growing up, there's always a very conservative background, and I grew up a Southern Baptist. Yeah. Raised going to Sunday school in the Southern Baptist Convention. Kind of a latchkey child of divorce in a small town, but it's a very conservative small town in Oklahoma, right smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt. Basically, at the time I was growing up there, the whole town was the most influence in town was the the First Baptist Church, member of Southern Baptist Convention, and that's how I grew up. Basically, I swore up and down that first time I was old enough to vote at age 18, I was going to vote against Jimmy Carter, and I said that right up until the moment it was announced they were running Ronald Reagan against him. The first vote I cast at the age of 18 was for Jimmy Carter against Ronald Reagan. And I'm proud to say that, because it was well known and shown who stood for what along the economic lines. And Jimmy Carter was a good evangelical Christian. But Reagan was more the sellout to the people with money, and it wasn't just that. I knew from just my own interpretation of history that going that way inevitably led to fascism. I didn't know the mechanism or anything, just this path goes to that destination. Reagan turned us down this path, destination fascism. People said I was tilting at windmills every time I shared that. Spent my entire adulthood fighting against it. Best I could. Just voice screaming in the wilderness. Now it's here. Most bitter I told you so ever, really. But my issue is with those who sign the name of God onto the church itself. Mid-80s. I was trying to court a young lady and followed her into Robert Tilton's satellite network of Word of Faith churches. Prosperity Doctrine, Seven Mountains Mandate, I believe. Definite dominionist. That put me off. Yeah, I went to their worship service, even though I was dirt poor at the time, put faith in their prosperity teachings, and basically it looked like the prosperity doctrine's entire workings, and in fact, the way that doctrine is interlaced into more charismatic evangelicalism, it seems like almost as if performative prayer and all the trappings that go with it, the laying on hands, the speaking in tongues, whatever, but basically performative prayer in whatever your particular branch of evangelicalism practices it, was being used basically as a form of witchcraft. It's going to make us all rich. We're going to speak this into reality. Ignore the physical reality that don't believe what your lying eyes tell you. We have this spiritual undermining that's operating below, or we know the spiritual significance operating under the surface, and yeah. I kind of went along with that, give him a chance, give him a fair chance. Never did go for their partisanship in politics. Always deadly opposed their partisanship, but yeah, I went and marched in their anti-abortion rallies and more local level. I was in San Antonio to protest the local cable company adding the Playboy channel to as a paid extra available to those who wanted it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fall from that was devastating, very destructive to my spirituality, even driving me to spend months or even up to a year trying to follow the forces of darkness and Satan against them until I finally, back to Christ. But I am completely disillusioned with the human institution of organized religion. I've gone to various churches since then. I watched this whole inevitably wed prosperity doctrine and political, definitely partisan Republican political, idolatry, for lack of a better word. Come to see it for the heresy that it is, and idolatry. The prosperity doctrine the idolatry isn't really for wealth so much as the fact that material wealth always has been a form of worldly power, and that's what this sect that's the idol that these people worship, is worldly power. And now it's gone to corrupting, feeling they express as a matter of principle, try to sign the name of God into going dead against everything Jesus taught during his ministry on earth. Everything he preached in the Sermon on the Mount, all his social interactions and the things he said to confound those who tried to gotcha and trap him. All the parables he told, the points of all the parables, everything that these people are putting God's name on now run dead against everything Jesus stood for. Yet they're signing his name to it. These are heretics. The whole unholy wedding of evangelicalism to MAGA movement is a grave heresy. I will speak out against that. And that's where I'm coming from.